Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rick Reads Comics. Today we're going to be going through Silver Surfer number 3 from, 1968, from December 1968. And the title is The Power and the Prize. So you saw the cover, the original cover, on the thumbnail and the title screen. But here I am reading it out of a trade paperback, and it collects issues 1 through 4. So we're going to jump to number 4. If you remember last week, we went through the issue where Silver Surfer fought the Brotherhood of the Badoon. And this week, we have another doozy for you. He is going to fight Mephisto. So if you don't know much about Mephisto, you'll find out a little bit more around here. He's like the devil from the underworld, kind of, in the Marvel universe. But this issue is called The Power and the Prize. So we open up right where we finished off with the last episode. Silver Surfer had this girl that was attacked by the Brotherhood of the Badoon, and he was trying to save her, and he brought her to Earth, but the people thought he was trying to kill her when really he was trying to heal her. So they took the girl, and they forced Silver Surfer back into space, but now he returns because he knows that she is about to die, and he's trying to help her, and they're trying to stop him. So, if you remember the last issue at the end, it said, what if the Silver Surfer turned against us? And it said, next, the Surfer's vengeance. That's kind of what we're going to see right here in the opening. So, Silver Surfer's at the hospital. They're trying to help the girl. They say, you almost killed her. He's saying, no, I'm trying to help her. And he knows all he needs is just a blast of cosmic energy to heal her. So, he goes ahead and takes the risk, and he shoots her. And they start shooting the guns against him. And he's like, no, what are you doing? I'm trying to help. Y'all don't know this. And he gets mad. And so let me read what he says. He says, from cradle to grave, your lives are rooted in senseless violence. Since power is your God, I'll show you power such as you have never known. And he melts all their weapons with his power cosmic. And then he jumps to the window. And let's see what he says. The female shall live, as shall you, and all of mankind. Yes, you will live long enough to rue this day, to taste the vengeance of the Silver Surfer. Vengeance such as the human race has never ever known. So he jumps to the air and he says, I'm going to do this even though I know it's wrong. And he says, forgive me for what I am about to do. Grant me the strength so that I may forgive them who have driven me to do it. And he says, and so it begins. So he uses his power cosmic, and he says, an all-enveloping series of cosmic bursts shall bring civilization to a standstill. In every corner of the globe, power will cease, machines will fail to run. All lights will dim as the gathering darkness enshrouds the earth. So he's going to make everybody see, kind of, and take notice about what he's doing with the power cosmic, and it's all because of their actions and what they have done. So he does this, he throws everything in array. It does a quick montage of different things where people's equipment are failing, they're covered in darkness. People from space can see what's happening, and then it jumps from there to another character, Mephisto. And he says, but even as nameless fear and mountain panic spread over the earth like some foul and fatal fungus, we turn our attention elsewhere, to a world beyond the farthest border of imagination, yet closer than the nearest nightmare. If we listen with rapt attention, we shall hear a voice, like none your human ear has ever heard, like none the human mind can ever conceive. And so Mephisto is taking notice of what's happening. And he says, prepare the mystic vapors, for I would behold what now occurs upon the planet of humans. So speaks Mephisto. So he has this little lackey guy right here, prepare the mystic vapors, and this is going to allow him to see what's happening on the earth. So Mephisto has to take notice of this because he is kind of like he's the ruler of the underworld. So when people die, when their souls pass and they go to hell, they go to Mephisto. And he's saying, Earth is like my chief place where I take all my humans from and where I get all the souls from. So he wants to know what's going on because he counts the Earth as his realm where he gets his supply of people. And he says, if yon breeding place now be threatened, Mephisto must know of it. So he's trying to figure out what's going on because he knows this is where all his people come from. So it says, turn as the mystic vapors bring forth their flickering imageries. It says, a mountain panic engulfs the planet. More vapors, I must now learn the cause, as the master commands. There, that is what I seek. A brooding figure, steeped in pain. So he knows that Silver Surfer is covered in pain. He knows that he seeks vengeance. And then he jumps forth and he pulls his mystic vapors out. And he wants to find out more about the Silver Surfer. And he says, but though more than human, he is less than divine. He strikes at earth in a fit of fury that bids fair to equal my own. But soon his mercy shall prevail, he will relent, and then who knows what may transpire. One so noble, possessed of such great power, must not walk freely among those Mephisto would exploit. So he recognizes that Silver Surfer is angry, he wants vengeance, but he doesn't want him to be able to, walk freely and do what he wants because he knows he has a noble heart and he knows he is pure. So he knows that this will pass and the Silver Surfer will again be good. And Mephisto, knowing that he is bad, cannot have anyone good with that much power walking around. So he says, I need to do something about it. And it says, and so I now ordain that he shall die. So he wants to kill the Silver Surfer. And he says, I must probe his past, determine his strength, and of paramount import I then shall learn his weakness. Thus Mephisto departs, and the deed be begun. So Mephisto goes from where he is to Zen-La, finds Shalabal, and he knows that this is the woman that Silver Surfer loves. So he is going to trick her and get her to do his bidding. And he dangles in front of her that she'll get to see Norrin Rad again. She'll get to see the Silver Surfer in person if she does what he says. So she willingly goes with him. And he envelops her in his cape, and then he makes her reappear in a spaceship. So when I first read this, I was like, why? And she says it too. Why does he make me, get in a spaceship to go to where Silver Surfer is? Instead, he could just appear and reappear like he did in Zen-La. And there's a reason he does this, which we'll find out a little bit later. But he just says, now we fly to Earth. So they take off to Earth. Silver Surfer is in space. He's thinking about what he'd done, and now he knows that he needs to stop. And he says, what cosmic power can achieve, cosmic power may undo. I now withdraw the spaceborne field. So he withdraws what's happening. Everything starts going back to normal, and then he sees the spaceship coming from Zen-La. So Mephisto is with her, and he says, oh no, they're coming in too fast. They're going to attack her because they see it as a UFO. So they start attacking her, and he goes and says, I must stop them. So he goes down to the soldiers and starts blasting their weapons, and he says, you must not down that spacecraft. And they say, there's no casualties, but Silver Surfer came and messed up all our stuff. So Mephisto is in the ship with her, and he says, now my plan is set in motion. I will, let it do what it's supposed to do. So the spaceship crashes into the earth and hits some mountains. But luckily, it is a Zen-La spaceship, like he has said. And he says, he may find her still alive. So it says, Shalabal, my true beloved. She lives, thank God she lives. Now let the soothing, healing cosmic balm envelop her and heal her injured limbs. So he tries to heal her, and then she says, you're in danger. This is a trap. Something's happening. There's someone here, and he is to destroy the Silver Surfer. That's his plan. And he says, whosoever has rejoined us can never be my enemy. I shall be grateful all the days of my life. She says, no, no. Even you cannot realize the evil that confronts us. But soon he shall. And then he appears. Mephisto appears. So here he goes. He appears here, and he says, since the dawn of time, seldom have I sensed such goodness of soul, such purity of spirit, as I sense within the Silver Surfer. All that you are, all that you stand for, abhorrent to the Lord of the lower depths. So long as you exist, Mephisto, scheme supreme, will ever be in jeopardy. And he says, therefore, the Silver Surfer must die, but your demise must be at a place of my choosing, under conditions I select. And then Bam, he vanishes, and he took Shalabal with him, and with him Shalabal. So that's the end of part one. Now we're going to start part two, and part two is called Duel in the Depths. So Mephisto is back in his realm. He has Shalabal, and he says, she is not dead. She is not under my domain yet, but take her and treat her well because the Silver Surfer is, coming, and this is a trap for him. So he goes over and he's starting to think about things, and he says, since all eternity is ever mine, Mephisto does not act in haste. While the helpless female is captive, it is I who call the tune. But merely slaying the Silver Surfer is not enough. So, in the beginning, he wanted to kill the Silver Surfer. Now he's changing up his plan a little bit. He of all men is too great a prize. He must be conquered, made to serve me here in my realm forever. And then, all of a sudden, the Silver Surfer appears, and he says, not forever, not a day, an hour, or a minute, most evil one. And he says, you! Of course, he is surprised how he got there, and he says, what have you done with Shalabal? Should any harm befall her, I vow, and he says, still your tongue, none may threaten the Prince of Darkness. Here within my dread domain, it is I who ask, it is you who answer, and so I now demand, how did you find this Stygian sphere? I guess it's Stygian sphere, one of those. So he's wondering how he found his domain, and Silver Surfer says, though yours is a power beyond all kin, there are powers at my command as well. Powers are scarcely suspected as we stood upon the mountain. The Silver Surfer must die, he says, and he says, you thought it was enough to simply disappear, unmindful that I can track a grain of space dust through the endless cosmos, throughout the endless cosmos. So Silver Surfer just tracked him because he has powers to do that. So Mephisto then says, I have far more cause to despise you than I thought. Your very goodness fills me with a loathing too great to endure. Why do you not cringe when I approach you? You can do no more than slay me, and death holds no terror for the Silver Surfer. But it shall, before this stark charade is ended, oh how it shall. Now follow me, that you may learn your fate. So Mephisto leads him over here, and then he then tells him, don't forget that I have Shalabal as a prisoner. And he says, why? Why have you done this to us? Why us? And he says, she is but a pawn. It is because of you, you who threatened to be my greatest enemy. Your courage, your purity, your lack of malice pose an intolerant challenge to me and to all I stand for. Now, for the first time in ages, my dominion over earth grows greater each day. But you will never achieve full victory. And he says, I will. I've waited too long to be thwarted again. And this is a really cool spread right here. And it says, so long as I can appeal to man's basest instincts, to his greed, his envy, his hatreds and aggression, his fear and distrust of his fellow man, so long as man takes the law into his own hands, both in the streets and on the field of battle, and so long as crime covers the planet like a deadly creeping fungus, then only Mephisto shall reap the final eternal reward. So, he says, thus when I encounter a force for good, resolute and powerful, I have but one single goal. It must be destroyed. And then here's where he talks about his plan changing. You are such a force, but I seek more than your destruction. I must have you in bondage for all eternity. Before we are done, you will serve me. You will call Mephisto master. And he says, never. And he says, but wait, you know nothing of my powers of persuasion. See what I have to offer you. See all that shall be yours. From out of the shadows, a blinding flash. And he says, you can create all that with but a gesture. And now he's going to tempt him with treasures and riches. So this kind of reminds me of when the devil was trying to tempt Jesus with his kingdom and all kinds of stuff. And this is kind of what they play on right here, because Mephisto offers him about 2 or 3 different things. And the first one is treasure and priceless jewels. And then the Silver Surfer responds and says, priceless jewels and rare precious metals. You call that treasure? And then he says, you know not what you see. In this one urn alone, gems enough to ransom a galaxy. And then he says, you speak of a paltry galaxy to one who has traversed the cosmos. What is here mere wealth to the Silver Surfer? And then he knocks it out of his hands. And he says, you do not tempt me. You do not sway me. Now, take me to Shalabal. And he says, the female, of course, that is the answer. So he flips from riches, and now he goes to women. And he thinks, okay, if Silver Surfer likes this one girl, he's going to like women. And so he says, if you're truly appreciative of feminine charms, then see what Mephisto can offer. And he says, not one, not two, but three, fairer by far than any of the any of the mind of man could dare imagine. So he offers women, and Silver Surfer says, no. I urge you, wait, answer not in haste. You need not make a choice. Accept them all in place of Shalabal, for the generosity of Mephisto is truly beyond compare. And he says, I see you are unmoved. Never could Mephisto comprehend the strange emotion men call love. But no matter, there are other gifts that may be yours. Do but say the word, and a galactic empire shall call you king forevermore. So he offers him treasures, then he offers him women, now he offers him a galactic empire. And then Silver Surfer says, evil one, you weary me. The spirit of the Silver Surfer cannot be bought with glistening baubles. And says, fool, even the patience of Mephisto is not without limit. Now, where cajolery has failed, let carnage succeed. So he commands these rocks, they turn into some beings, and now they try to attack the Silver Surfer, and they envelop him. So Silver Surfer starts trying to fight, and he says, they seek to engulf me and mesh me in a living trap. And it says, now their bodies turn to rock once more. But Silver Surfer has the power cosmic, of course, and he blows them all apart. So Mephisto says, no matter how many escapes you may achieve, each will leave you weaker and weaker. And he says, while the forces of Mephisto are truly inexhaustible, I will but to will it, and your doom is assured. And he says, my doom perhaps, but never my surrender. Says, back, loathsome demon, from the Stygian depths. I will not slay upon while the king stands thus immune. But if wound you I must, then wound you I shall. So he burns his hand with the power cosmic. And he says, to me, my flying board. And he says, with you once more beneath my feet, our speed shall serve instead of strength. So he speeds away right here. And then Mephisto, of course, sends some other crazy creature, and he tries to attack him. And then he says, I made certain to shield his reptilian hide. So he shielded it, so now that the power cosmic won't burn him. And he says, now once again, for the final time, the choice is yours. And he says, the final time, never. The choice between good and evil is made by all who live, with every single heartbeat. And so long as Shalabal remains your captive, heed these words, Mephisto, the surfer shall not fall. So then he, blasts his head and it explodes. He says, even you have been guilty of a grievous oversight. And he says, never have I hated any mortal being as I now hate you. And he says, such as shielding the monster's hide while leaving him most vulnerable deep within. So he blew him up from within. But defy me as you will, the prize shall still be mine. Probably read those out of order, I now realize, but It says, if battle we must, let it be the two of us. What manner of being are you, to stand aloof while hapless creatures fight in your behalf? And he says, I am Mephisto, supreme unto myself, I answer to none. And he says, I am the Silver Surfer, I surrender to none. So now they're about to fight it out for the final. And he says, what? You think yourself my equal? I have till now but toyed with you, and if further proof be needed, then let it now appear. And then he says, awesome, amoebic shapes enveloping themselves about me. They drain my strength, they sap my will. I cannot think, I cannot move. My voice itself is soundless, but my soul remains my own, though I am trapped in limbo. He says, impudent fool, you presume to think your power is a match for mine. I could leave you thus till the end of eternity, or destroy you with the merest shrug, but neither course will give me the soul that I so sorely crave. Therefore I choose a third alternative. I shall reduce you to a random thought. It says, you shall grow smaller as you become a thing ethereal. It says, a thing I can transform with ease. It says, till you dwell implanted within the smoldering labyrinth which is my brain. There shall I bend you to my satanic will by the mystic power of the unfettered mind. So he reduces Silver Surfer to a thought. This is a crazy little power I didn't even know he had. But he reduced him to a thought, put him in his mind, and then now he says, "Now yield you must. None may defy my will, the will of Mephisto. There is no right, there is no wrong, only my command. You must offer me allegiance. You must, you must. Why? Why do you still resist? Why can I not crush your will? Begone! I can countenance no more. The very goodness of your spirit bids fair to drive me mad." So, being in Mephisto's mind and being so good, Mephisto couldn't stand it, so he cast him back out because his will was too strong, he couldn't break him. He says, "His spell is broken, I am myself again. Within my brain, his accursed purity did pain me like a canker. But now I, what did he say? But now I play my master card. Even you have no defense against the weapon men call love." He says, "Again I command, swear me your undying allegiance, or I send her back to Zinla, and Shalabal will be lost to you forever." So now he's pulling his ultimate trump card, the whole reason that he grabbed her in the first place, to sway the Silver Surfer. He says, "There is no choice, beloved. How could I love you? How could you love me? How can love have meaning if it costs your very soul? No, I cannot lose you now." So he doesn't want to let her go, but she says, "I have to." He says, "Lose me? Though we are a universe apart, we'll belong to each other forever. This is our final victory. This is the love we can never destroy. Your hand, beloved. Let our fingers touch for this one last time." So he reaches out to her to try to touch her fingers, just to have that satisfaction, and then she disappears, and she's ripped away. And he says, "No, not even that humble boon will I grant," Mephisto says. "It is as I planned. I did goad him into freeing the one I love the most. But in so doing, I can feel the heart within me shatter." So, in maybe the subconscious of Silver Surfer, he knew this was probably going to happen, and it worked. And then Mephisto says, "For the first time in ages, I have drunk the draught of bleak defeat. So be gone, for your very sight offends my regal eyes. But since time is endless, we shall meet again, and then shall the surfer fall." So he sends Silver Surfer away because he can't stand to see him after he lost and he didn't surrender to what he wanted. He probably isn't used to being told no. So, and it does tease us. So there's the last frame with Silver Surfer in agony in the cosmos, but it teases the next time in issue number 4. It has the mighty Thor, so it's somebody we all know. So that is the end of issue number 3. Kind of struggled through it a little bit, but thanks for reading with me. Thanks for following along. I will try to have the next one out next Wednesday for issue number 4. And that will be the last issue of this Marvel Mighty Masterworks, and then we will switch to something else. But maybe we'll visit the Silver Surfer again in 1969, the next issues after that. But I'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining me.